steak and going to Vegas.
Welcome to the #1 poker radio show in the world. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. 1 full hour of poker news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises. The phone lines are open at 702-731-1230. That's 702-731-1230. Or toll free. 1-866-820-5528. That's 1-866-820-KLAV. Now let's bring on the host. Here is Mark Hoke.
Nate Dowland is over here making me laugh right before we go on.
I'm sorry. Nothing I can do about it. You're red in the face because you're so happy from last night's results.
I am. I enjoyed it.
Did you win a tournament last night?
I think we all won.
The whole country won a tournament last night. It's called Running Good.
That was massive run good last night. If you're on the red side of things, if you're on the blue side, not so much. But it was an interesting night.
I think America spoke last night.
I think they pulled out the veto pen last night.
Oh, that pen's gonna get a workout. I think too.
For sure.
Oh my God. Well, we're not talking politics. We're gonna do our best here.
Yeah.
But of course,
There's
welcome.
One blue in the room.
Yeah.
That would be you.
I was up so late last night. That was ridiculous, and I really didn't need to be. But we are here on the Mark Hoke Show, #1 poker news and entertainment show in the world. And of course, I am the aforementioned Mark Hoke. Thank you for being with us, Nate Dowland over there. What's up, Nate?
Everything. There's good things in the news too, Mark.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, Phil Ivey got approved for a medical marijuana dispensary license.
Oh God, we will talk about that. Add that on the list.
He's got to make up for the money the casinos didn't give him. So.
Exactly. Oh, and he got it. That'll definitely pull that $12 million back.
You said you were up late last night, but I bet you Nolan Dollar was up even later because he was running around crying the whole night.
Nolan's gonna
Jack. Oh my Jack, you think he hit the bottle last night?
just a little. Nevada Poker League's Joe Pane is here. We have Katie Dozier on the line from the Grindettes. We'll get her on here in a minute or two. And of course, our very special guest, and what an honor to have this gentleman joining us here live in the studio today. He is a member of the 2014 Poker Hall of Fame class, Jack McClelland. Jack, welcome to the show, and congratulations.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Wow, you even got a standing ovation from the computer over there. That wasn't bad.
Well deserved, too,
yes.
by the way.
Yeah. So
thank you very much.
So we'll get to talk to Jack about his thoughts about being in the Hall of Fame and take a trip down memory lane as we roll through the show. But first, we got some news. Of course, time for the read.
Scanning the poker tables from around the world. This is The Read, brought to you by the Nevada Poker League. Play poker for free and win cash at locations all across Las Vegas. Visit NevadaPokerLeague.com today.
All right, of course, The Read brought to you by the Nevada Poker League. I had a rough night at the Nevada Poker League.
A rough night.
It wasn't
Somebody
terrible.
threw a chair at you
Last night?
No, when I came down, and played at the Distill, yeah.
Yeah, you did have a tough night.
No, it was not good, but it was fun, I think. But I always have a good time at the Nevada Poker League. Make sure you check it out, NevadaPokerLeague.com. Phil Ivey, double news on Phil Ivey.
More than double news. He also appealed the Crockford ruling.
Exactly. That was the other item we were going to mention. Phil Ivey not going down without a fight, as he has, after a month after the High Court in London ruled in Crockford Casino's favor, Phil Ivey has decided to appeal this thing. So that fight is not over, even though I have a feeling it probably is over.
Well,
but he's going to try.
There's a casino
anyway.
here in the U.S. that's paying close attention.
Yeah.
And they were pretty excited when he lost that ruling.
Yeah, our good buddies at the Borgata also, of course, trying to pull some money back from Mr. Ivey, too. And as you mentioned, Phil Ivey is apparently trying to get in the medical marijuana business
here. He is in the
Nevada.
medical marijuana business. He is one of the 26 accounts that were approved for a medical marijuana dispensary here in Las Vegas, which is very huge because anyone from any state who has a medical marijuana license can get their marijuana here in Las Vegas.
Wow. So there you go.
That's great news for for medicine users.
Phil should be a pretty popular guy at the World
I
Series
would,
next
I would,
summer, right?
yeah, he might be.
There'd be more people railing him for other reasons than watching this play.
I may be willing to take a sponsorship as long as everything's on board on that. So, Phil, give me a call. Of course, we have some controversy going on with PokerStars at this point. PokerStars has increased the rake in their games. They've also changed how they're doing their currency exchange, which is not benefiting the players. And boy, I'll tell you what, everybody is all over this right now. Very upset. A lot of things changing now that Amaya has taken over PokerStars, and from a lot of the players' perspectives, it's not good. I know, Nate, this is right up your alley. So,
well, yeah, the government fleeced Full Tilt Poker. They took all that and sold it for $750 million, and then Amaya buys everything all together with PokerStars, which had an indictment on it, and Full Tilt Poker for $4 billion, and now they're screwing every online player that's been loyal to them for years and didn't complain when Amaya took them over. They were excited about it, and now look what they're doing. They're actually ruining their own name.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a very interesting to see how this plays out over the next year. If someone may decide, hey, if PokerStars is kind of doing some things the players aren't liking, maybe someone else can step in. And
PokerStars, 888, they're all right there ready to jump.
Yeah, so this will be very interesting as this story develops. We want to congratulate Steve O'Dwyer, who brought home the ACOP High Roller Championship. That's the Asia Championship of Poker Super High Roller. Picks up, I'll make this dramatic, with the Hong Kong dollars, it was $14,050,000.
But that's still a lotto.
That's 1.8 million in U.S. dollars. It's still pretty good. Still pretty good. So Steve O'Dwyer picks up some coin there. Daniel Coleman makes that final table out there and continues
another one
to he actually, in the Bluff Magazine Player of the Year race, he has actually already set a record for points.
He sold his soul.
So it's pretty.
But congratulations to Joseph Chong. He's on that list also.
Yeah. Yeah. So some interesting stuff happening over there. More high roller wins. And, of course, the big news coming up this week, we've got two huge events happening here in Las Vegas. Of course, the November 9 is coming up here next week. And we got Katie Dozier on the line from the Grindettes. Let's say hi to Katie. Katie, what's up?
Hi. How are you doing?
Oh, I love when Katie's on the show.
So do I. She was at my table when I busted out in 2012.
She just perks everything up. It's so much fun. How you doing, Katie?
I'm doing great. I just got back from a trip to London and Paris, and now I'm back in Mexico, so that was a really fun time.
I saw all the pictures. It looked like you enjoyed yourself, just a little.
Yeah, I ate ridiculously well. That was great. I drank ridiculously well also.
That's not a surprise.
My son wanted to know how you found a red TARDIS, because you were standing next to the red phone booth. He's a Doctor Who fan.
Yeah. Obviously, she was drunk when that happened too. Okay, so
that was at 7 in the morning. So if you'd waited a couple hours, probably, but not at 7 in the morning.
All right. Well, Katie, of course, the November 9 getting ready to get rolling here, and I'm going to go just right now. Let's lay it out. Who's going to win this thing? What do you think?
Okay, now this is going to be a little bit of an unconventional thought. But I think what's going to happen, Mark, is they're going to bend the rules and decide to let you enter the final table, and you're going to win.
Wow. Are you saying I'm better than everybody at the table, or I'm just going to get lucky?
You're going to crush, okay? They're going to give you one chip, literally, whatever the lowest denomination chip is, and play at the final table. They're going to give you that, and you're just going to crush.
I'll take it. I'll take that chance. You know, I'll win the $10 million on one chip. I'll take a try.
Well, it's at least worth $700,000.
Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah, you'd take that, right?
I would.
You wouldn't complain.
No, I would take that in a heartbeat. So you're wimping out on this.
No, I'm not wimping out on this.
Okay.
I'm giving what is the best possible thing that could happen. But if that's not going to happen, okay?
Katie,
if that's not going to happen, I'm really excited to see Newhouse. I like Newhouse. I played with him before. I think he's a good player. He's interesting. I think he's fun to watch. So I guess if I'm in anyone's camp, it's Team Newhouse for me.
Me too.
Right. So there you go. Yeah, I would pick Mark Newhouse. But, of course, you never know what's going to happen at a World Series final table. And, of course, we'll get to talk to Jack. You've seen a few of those in your day, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
Just a couple.
Now, Katie, I'm wondering how you're feeling about Mexico's new online gambling legislation that they're going to be going over. Are you worried that it could affect what you're doing down there?
Yeah, it definitely has some potential, but kind of the way I see it is just like, it seems like normally it's a very long time when you hear like there could be legislation. And I mean, most recently I saw an article posted saying that it would definitely be passed by September 20th. And as far as I can tell, September 20th is come and gone, and there's been no update about it. So I'm not too concerned. I think that, from what I understand, they're more focused on doing things like raising the legal age to enter a physical casino in Mexico, which is not an issue or something that affects me.
Right.
So I'm not too concerned about that. But I'm hopeful that everything will stay as relatively lax as it is here.
Well, that sounds like a plan. So, well, Katie, hey, I want to thank you for calling in. Do appreciate it. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, great talking to you guys, and have a great rest of the show. I'll be listening as I make my lunch.
Perfect. What's for lunch? What's for lunch today?
I'm making salmon, and it's actually like we eat our big meal of the day, so it sounds like a giant lunch, but that's because it's dinner for most people. But I'm making curried salmon with cauliflower puree and Brussels sprouts.
I'm hungry. I'm going right down to Rosarito right now.
Find a woman that cooks.
Yeah, it's only like an 8-hour. Yeah, it's an 8-hour drive. You guys can be here in time for late dinner, right?
Yeah, there you go. That works for me. All right, Katie. Well, it's great to talk to you, and we'll see you again very soon, I hope.
Great. You too. Take care.
You got it. Katie Dozier of the Grindettes. And, of course, make sure you follow the Grindettes on Twitter at Grindettes, Facebook, the Grindettes, and website is grindettes.com. And, of course, the other big event coming up this weekend, which is always a blast and, one of the great nights in poker, Poker Hall of Fame.
It's going to be a fantastic time.
Oh, it's going to be a great time, especially because of the two gentlemen that are going to be inducted. Of course, Daniel Negreanu is in, and our guest, Jack McClelland. And, just a great honor to have you here, Jack. We're thrilled for you. What was that like when you finally got that call?
It was very humbling. Very humbling. I've seen a lot of the people in the Hall of Fame over the years. A lot of very talented people that I respect and admire, and a lot of them have passed on. And I'm always going to have those memories. And it just, up until I got nominated a few years ago in 2011, it had never crossed my mind one time that it was even possible.
Yeah, and obviously there were a ton of great candidates on there, and certainly, Daniel, I think a lot of people felt was going to get in here, and it was maybe a little bit of a toss up, but you managed to get through there and make it, even though the criterion does talk about being a player, and you have played, but not as at the high levels at some of these guys. Which I think
he
speaks.
Has played at the high levels.
Well, yeah, but I mean, in terms of like a Daniel Negreanu type player, but I think that goes to speak for what you've done for the game even more to get that kind of respect. Take us through that career and some of the great highlights that you've had over this decades of being in this game.
Yeah, 5 decades. No wonder I'm tired. But yeah, I came to Vegas in the 70s, and I'm sure you're all familiar with the movie Casino, and it was actually pretty accurate. But I was a country boy from Ohio and didn't realize it, so all those guys in the black shirts and the white ties, I just kind of made them behave like which was my job, and they got to respect me. And so I survived my way through that and got very interested in tournaments in the early 80s, and actually started out at the World Series of Poker in 1984, and for the next 15 years I kind of lived, ate, and breathed it all the time. I know you guys today with all your technical stuff, and the statistics and the money winners and the bracelet winners and all that. It's hard to believe, but back in the 80s, I actually did all the statistics for the World Series on 3x5 file cards.
Wow. Really? What did you keep? What all did you keep on those cards?
If you made the last table and how much money you won and everything. And Jim Albrecht, who's my partner for a lot of great years at the World Series and ran the poker room, luckily in the late 80s he came along and came up with a computer program to do all of it, because we'd have a couple of rooms full of cards by now here.
That must have been quite a pleasure to see that. Get the computer there.
Yeah, no, I was very happy.
And of course, you've seen so many different changes in the game, and I know you one thing that you really pioneered was getting rid of abuse of players and dealers. That was one of your big accomplishments, to kind of corral that Wild West atmosphere in the poker rooms.
Well, I had a lot of help from a lot of good people, but what I found out was I couldn't get any good people to work. They just didn't want to take the abuse anymore. And so, I talked with some people and some players, and we come up with a penalty system, and that seemed to work pretty good. And, it was a lot easier to get good employees after that.
What was it like before that? I mean, give us an idea of what the atmosphere and how bad it was before you started implementing those rules.
Well, I had a lot of sleepless nights because I knew all sides of the table. I'd played, I'd worked, dealt, I'd, been the director. So I knew, I knew that, if a player's playing for 40 hours and a dealer sits down and starts talking about the football game on TV, they're buried. They don't want to hear about it. And, when you got to deal the cards and induct when they're coming back in, that's no fun. Especially when they talk about your parentage in a not nice way. And so, I understood everything, and I just kind of, what I've done for the past 5 decades is like a Marine motto. I adapt and adjust. In 1984, I used to say shuffle up and deal. And now we have like over 100-page manual on rules, just tournament rules. So for 10 minutes before the tournament starts, you say, no. You'd think you're going for airline miles. Don't do this, don't do that. So, but everything is a reaction to an action. There's a jillion poker players out there, and there's just a few of us making the rules, and everybody knows what's best for them at that exact moment. But you got to figure out what's best for the game, what's best for the casino, what's best for all the players. You got to figure the whole thing out, and it's like kind of it's like putting a jigsaw puzzle together.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, because we were talking about the Poker Stars situation where they've jacked up their rakes, and you were well known for keeping your rakes down at the tournaments that you ran. How hard is it to get that balance between making money? It's still a business, but keeping the players happy and finding that common ground.
It's very tough, and the last 4 or 5 years since the economy's been down, and the accountants are really breathing down everybody's neck, it's gotten even tougher. I mean, we used to have a little free reign. I mean, like at the Horseshoe, they had some wonderful dinners and stuff during the World Series, and they were very generous on giving out comps and stuff like that. And anytime somebody made a score, they always come to the Horseshoe to gamble. And now everything's your player's card and your computer system, and you don't get that same face-to-face repertoire with the players and everything. For years, I was very proud. I'd have a player that hadn't seen for 4 or 5 years. He'd walk in, I'd say, "Hi, Paul, how you doing?" And they'd like be shocked. Well, how do you remember my name? Well, you're my customer. That's my job. But now there's just like so many young ones and everything. It's just plus my memory's not as good as it used to be.
Well, of course, everybody else's memories are still pretty good because, of course, you've been elected into the Poker Hall of Fame. And we're going to talk more about that and just a legendary career after we take a commercial break here. So stick around. We got more with Jack McClelland right after this.
PokerShop.com is your one-stop shop for all your poker and game room needs. PokerShop.com has you covered with an incredible variety of poker chips and supplies, top-quality playing cards, plus gaming tables and room accessories, just like you'd find in your favorite casino. And if you're looking to spruce up your man cave, we offer a wide selection of decor options, from lighting to mirrors and portable bars to bub stools, to make your game room the one all your friends and family will be talking about. So for everything you need to make your your game night a great night. Go to www.pokershop.com and receive 10% off your purchase with the code HOKE, H-O-K-E. You supply your friends. We supply everything else. Live it. Love it. Pokershop.com.
One man, his lucky shirt, an unforgettable night, and a winning streak that never seemed to end. That's how Blind Squirrel began, and we haven't looked back since. We make the clothes that we want to wear for the places where we want to look and feel our best. The game, the speakeasy, and the casino floor. Blind Squirrel's small batch, high-quality gear is for people too busy grabbing life by the nuts to bother with crappy, ill-fitting clothing. Because like you, we prefer our nights long, our drinks strong, and our lucky shirt to be our most comfortable. So look good, be lucky, and visit blindsquirrelapparel.com for your new favorite shirt. As an added bonus, you'll receive 20% off your purchase with the promo code HOKE, H-O-K-E. You can also pick up Blind Squirrel apparel at the Borgata in Atlantic City and in Las Vegas at all Masura stores at Mandalay Bay, Monte Carlo, The Mirage, and MGM Grand. Look good and be lucky with Blind Squirrel apparel.
I'm Dutch Boyd, two-time WSOP bracelet winner, and I want to share my story with you. 12 years as a pro has taught me a lot. For the last year, I've boiled it all down into a tell-all book, 90,000 words. In Poker Tilt, I take you on my journey through all the ups and downs that poker has to offer, all the manic highs and hellish lows of every bad beat and lucky draw. So go to www.pokertilt.com to read more, or just go buy the new book on Amazon or Kindle. Right now, pokertilt.com. I guarantee you'll enjoy the ride.
It's time for you to check out RogueWire.com. News, sports, entertainment, and the internet home of The Mark Hoke Show. Don't wait. Let the sparks fly from your computer at RogueWire.com. And of course, RogueWire.com is powered by BlueRail.net. For over 2 years, The Mark Hoke Show has trusted BlueRail.net as their exclusive host, and you can too. Visit BlueRail.net for top-level web hosting, website building and maintenance, one-on-one customer service, and much more. It's time to get on board with your winning combination. BlueRail.net and RogueWire.com. How far do you want to go?
RunGoodGear.com is one of poker's premier online stores for apparel. Their mission is to provide poker players with stylish and comfortable clothes for their daily grind. You've probably seen Run Good Gear at the World Series of Poker through Run Good Poker Pro Rob Salaburo, or around the country through the WSOP circuit. Today, RunGoodGear.com is the place to go to gear up for the poker vote. So go there now with the promo code HOKE, that's H-O-K-E, for 10% off your entire online purchase. Remember Hoke. Now, go gear up. There's nothing better than sitting down to play poker with good friends and cutting loose. And that's what you're going to find when you tune in to Poker Night in America. Poker Night in America is revolutionizing televised poker in a big way, with all the action you love and the hilarious fun you've been missing. Come take a seat at the table with all your favorite players, old and new, with Poker Night in America. Sunday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on CBS Sports Network. And don't forget to visit the show online at PokerNight.com. So pull up a chair and join us Sundays on Poker Night in America.
Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Then follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show and like our Facebook page at The Mark Hoke Show for show news and outstanding poker content from around the world. Plus, enjoy the show anytime by subscribing to our podcasts on iTunes or at markhokeshow.podbean.com. We're even on your mobile phone at markhokeshow.podbean.com/mobile. Thanks for listening and being a part of The Mark Hoke Show.
Now, let's return to The Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
Hey, that's me. I guess I have to start talking. That's what we do on a radio show. Thanks for being with us, everybody. Welcome back to The Mark Hoke Show. Nate Dowland, Joe Pane, I don't think I got to really introduce him. We just started talking politics.
That's all right.
Everybody knows Joe.
Everybody knows Joe. And Jack McClelland, soon to be in the Poker Hall of Fame. God, that just sounds great. So excited for you, Jack. Hey, we got to mention before we keep things rolling here, a couple things. First, we're going to be doing some live broadcasts once again from Seminole Hard Rock at the Rock and Roll Poker Open. Start firing those off November 14th, and we're going through December 2nd, and we're also going to be working with the Poker Night in America team. And, of course, very excited. We have a little alliance with them now that we're going to be working with the show and, doing a monthly Poker Night in America spotlight. show here on the Mark Hoke Show, and they're going to be running an ad for us, which should
increase listenership.
Just a tad.
Just a tad.
Just a tad.
Just a little bit.
Get out to 1.5 million homes. That's fantastic.
Yeah, we'll be all right. So of course, we want to thank Poker Night in America for working with us. We do appreciate it, and it should be a pretty exciting relationship. And looking forward to seeing the Ladies' Night taping coming up down there in December with all those, a couple of the Grindettes there too. So it should be a lot of fun. Jack, and speaking of TV, of course, Jack, you were one of the pioneers in poker television. Take us back through the evolution of you being on TV for poker and where it's come from and where you think it might be headed.
Well, I started doing announcing probably back around 1984, 85 for the World Series, and we do the final table every year. And in the late 90s, I'd retired for a short while my late wife was terminal, and then I got remarried to a wonderful lady from Poland, and she liked to travel, so I decided to resurrect my career and go a different direction, so we started going all over the world doing poker tournaments. And I was lucky enough to do the first live poker tournament on the Isle of Man back around 2000 or 2001, I'm not sure. And it was pretty interesting because they used the table where you could look through the table at the mirror and see the hole cards. And the final table, we were out in the parking lot in a tent, all secure, and the casino was several hundred yards away, and you could just feel the electricity. I'd call the hands, and then they'd go to like you announcing in the casino, and you'd make TV out of it instantly on the fly. And being over in the UK, you could bet trifectas and exactas and who was going to win and all that stuff. And I mean, it was really opened up my eyes to what was possible. And then a few months later, I was in Vienna and did the first Heads Up tournament for TV. And these two teenage guys from Finland, they were taping it with the lipstick cameras. And 4 nights later, it was on TV here in the United States. And, it was like, wow. And then as soon as I got to the Bellagio, the World Poker Tour came around. They wanted to do the TV with the whole cards. And my partner, Doug Dalton, and I, we talked it over. We went and discussed with Bobby Baldwin. And, I was pretty sure it would work. So I said, okay, I think it'll work. And so they said, do it. And I thought, well, this might be a real short career. But we kind of hit the perfect storm. Chris Moneymaker won the World Series on a $40 internet buy-in, and people could watch how the hands were played and not be intimidated by poker. And, every week on the TV there was a new World Poker Tour millionaire, and it really created a whole new trying to think of the generational focus. I mean, up until then, probably the average age of the poker player was about 50. And it was like overnight, the average age of the player at the World Series was like 22.
Wow.
And that included all the 50-year-old guys. So we had an amazing ride. I mean, we were on a heater for a while. And then, non-gaming people got involved, and things kind of flattened out a mite.
How much does it surprise you, though, that poker on television became as big as it did, and the World Series grew as big as it did, and the WPT? It must, from being there at the infancy of the whole thing, it must just be really awe-inspiring when you look back and say it went from here to there.
The first year I was at the World Series, I think they had 100 players for the championship. And the last year I was there was 1998, and we'd set a new record. We had 350. And we'd always dreamed about getting bigger, but I remember in 98, Doyle Brunson coming in and say, these fields are getting too big. The good players can't get there anymore. So actually, Jim Albrecht and I were planning for 1999 to make the maiden World Series buy-in 20,000 instead of 10. But then Jack sold out to his sister Becky, and we decided to go different directions, and it just stayed the same all these years.
Do you think that from seeing it from start to finish here, do you think that it's still the right way to determine the world champion, with a $10,000 buy-in one tournament, or would you think that maybe there's another way to do it?
It's a very unique tournament. I probably wouldn't change it. I mean, if you get there for a while, it looks like they might have 50,000 players. Then it's just logistically impossible to do that, which was why I kept raising the buy-ins to Bellagio as we were getting bigger and bigger, because I had a limited amount of space to use, and I didn't want to shut any of the players out. When a World Poker Tour came along and they were talking about a championship and wanted to have it at Bellagio, and I talked them into having a $25,000 tournament because I didn't want to compete or be the same as the World Series because it's so unique. So we had a $25,000 championship, and they were all laughing and saying, you won't get 20 players. And I think the first year we got 111, and a few years later we were up to 655 before everything kind of got together to throw a wall up against us.
What is the thing that you've done in your career that, as you said, some people were making fun of you about this or that, and everybody that's an innovator kind of has to step out there a little bit. What do you think is something that you did that everybody just said, this is never going to work, there's no way this is going to work, and even maybe you didn't think it might work, that just took off and turned out to be something really special?
Is this like a 4-hour show? Just a lot of. I never did any one great major thing, but it was just a lot of little things. I mean, every year you're tweaking the structures, you're tweaking the payouts. You listen to the players. They want more chips, more levels, more this, more that, and you're trying to please them, but you're still trying to make a profit for the casino. I mean, like a perfect example was a few years ago. They started up a new tour and. Oh yeah, we're going to add hundreds of thousands to the prize money, and the players get free rooms and get all this free food and stuff, and the players all come screaming at me, well, why don't you do that? And I said, I can't afford to. And I think the other tour lasted for like 2 events, and it was gone.
I was at the third one when it ended. I remember that little fiasco very well. Thank you very much.
It was an epic episode.
Yes, it was.
Epic. Is that the key word?
Shh. Be nice. Nah, don't be nice. Why not? When you look back on working with the World Poker Tour and working with the World Series, which one did you enjoy more?
Well, the World Series, it was like more or less like a yearly get together of friends, and you pretty much knew everybody. You get a few new people each year, but not too many, and you'd lose a few. Passing on or whatever, but it was, more kind of like a big family reunion. And with the World Poker Tour, it was a different place every week. It was so huge to start with. We did it down in Aruba, and once I think we had like 80 or 100 players. Well, the next year after the TV came out, we had like 600 players.
Wow.
And we had space for like 300. So I remember we ran 2 flights a day and was working like 22 hours a day. It was just like nuts. But I mean, everything just exploded. The World Series went from a few hundred to 10 or 12,000 in just a couple of years. And it could still be growing, but life has its ups and downs, and so does poker.
Where do you see the game going now? Because Matt Savage has said that the rebuys have gone too far, and there's all sorts of new variants that are coming out of tournaments. What do you think is the future of the game at this point?
Well, before I went to the Bellagio, probably the most trouble I'd had was with the rebuy tournaments, because. You always had to make sure the money was right, and somebody was always accusing the dealers of doing something, or the players are dumping off chips, or this guy's stealing, or whatever. So when I went to the Bellagio and worked with Doug Dalton, Doug had basically worked cash games all of his life. He says, well, do whatever you want. So what I did was I started everybody out with the double chips, which is like a free rebuy. And that worked well for a while until down the street they started giving them like $30,000 chips and $20 tournaments and stuff like that. And then, we just keep adjusting and tweaking. And now, like at the Bellagio, you have a $100 tournament. You start with $10,000 in chips. I mean, it's just backwards. I mean, a lot of the places where I worked, like in the '90s, I did a lot of tournaments over at the Commerce Casino in Los Angeles, which is a huge poker room. And their goal was to get the players broke as fast as they could because they wanted to be playing in the cash games. So I designed the tournaments so they were fast early. And then as you got down towards the money, they slowed down. So now if you're into the last couple of tables and it takes you 5 or 6 hours, the other 400 people are already gone out playing cash games. So it worked well for the casino, and it worked well for the players that, they knew once they got to a certain spot that they were going to have plenty of time to, catch cards and show their talent and everything like that.
And, speaking of those players, I mean, you've obviously seen all the greats of the game. Give us some names of players that that you remember that just stood out to you over the years that would, maybe back in the past would be able to compete in today's game, or just, really just blew you away with their talent.
Well, Stewie Younger was a marvelous talent, and like all different kind of geniuses, the more talent you have, the more weaknesses you have. And, Stewie was unable to control the dark side, and it finally got him in the end. But talented, he was unbelievable. I mean, I ran a tournament at 4 Queens, and there was 9 people at the final table, and he destroyed the table in under an hour.
Wow.
It was just incredible. And then for a few years when he was having a lot of issues, if anybody would have said, who's a champion you think would never repeat again, I would have said Stu Unger, because we'd be playing an hour, and he'd say 2 hours. He'd say, "Where's everybody going?" I said, "Well, they got a break." "Well, what do you mean giving them a break? Are you crazy?" and the last year they won, he held it all together for 4 days, and I was very happy for him. But the demons were out there waiting for him.
Yeah, it's just such an unbelievable story. And do you still think that Stu is the best player of all time?
No. He was very talented in what he did, but he really couldn't play a cash game. I mean, tournament poker, I've always felt was like a chess game, where cash games are like checkers, where you can just reach in and king yourself again and into your pocket. But the people have really stood the test of time, like Doyle Brunson. He's 82, and he still goes out and plays with 25-year-olds. I mean, there's no other sport in the world you can do that. You can't do it at golf. You can't do it, in any, sport where you got to keep your body in condition. So if you can just keep your mind focused and sharp, and poker's a pretty sedentary, I don't know if that's the correct word or not, career, where most of the poker players have more weight on their body than other.
We're fat.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can say it. It's all right.
Look at the average age.
I used to be a big guy, so I understand.
The average age of this year's Final 9 couldn't be over 30.
No.
Somebody asked me a few years ago, and I said, I really seriously doubt, maybe once or twice, that if anybody over the age of 50 is ever going to win it again. Because it's just
a 7-day
so
grind.
demanding, and your body... I remember Dewey Tomko saying this, and it struck me as funny at the time, but I understand. He says, you hit like 45 or 50, and your body just says, I don't want to do this anymore. And, for the people that can, it's like being a marathon runner. You can get through that wall of pain and keep on going. And those people that play high limit and are in their 60s and 70s and 80s, I got nothing but the greatest admiration for them.
And speaking of playing, by the way, oh boy, it is time for Jack McClelland and the rest of the team to play the snap call.
Because we like to make our guests squirm and suffer, let's put them through the toughest grind in poker. Get ready, everyone. It's time for the snap call.
Very simple how we do this. We'll ask you a question, guys, and give you a few choices, and tell us what you think. It's nothing too scary, I hope. So we'll see how. Listen to you over there, Nate. Yeah, right. All right, so Nate, let's start off on this one. Number of bad beat stories Jack's been told in his career. 1,000, 10,000, or even Carl Sagan couldn't count them all.
No, you couldn't count them all, I'm sure.
Joe?
Can't count them all.
Jack?
Very true. When I first started out in poker, I thought about getting my own 900 number, 1-900 bad beat. But before you could tell your story, you had to listen to 2, and nobody ever called.
Oh, thank God. Joe, how about this one? Punishment for any players caught cheating at the Bellagio. Of course, Jack ran the Bellagio for quite a while here. Simple escort out and a ban. A visit to a special room with Bruiser. Or ever see Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Well, we're not going to go that far, but you shouldn't just be escorted out peacefully. You cheat in the casino, you should have to pay the piper.
So we're going to Bruiser. Jack.
Says the advantage player.
Says the advantage. Well, hold on. Jack, hold on.
Uh-oh.
Mr. Blue, advantage players are not cheaters. So.
I know.
I just want to make that clear.
Wholeheartedly.
Want to make that clear.
Oh, God. Jack.
Well, outside of the... Actually, I've seen all 3 of them over the years. But in these days of PC correctness, I think being escorted out and being banned for a certain amount of time according to the seriousness of the offense is what will happen in most cases.
Oh, that's so disappointing. Nate?
Bruiser.
I agree with Bruiser. Yeah, there you go. Jack, how about this one? Wildest person of the 3, Linda Johnson, Jan Fisher, or Benny Binion?
Wow. And he knows all 3 personally, too, so
he does.
Be careful how you answer this, Jack. Well, Benny can't answer back right now, so that's okay.
Right now.
Actually, I just read a book out called Blood Aces about Benny, and I remember my last conversation with him. We were coming in the elevator down from the steakhouse to Horseshoe, and he had that kind of stare. He could just kind of like look into your soul. And he looks over and he says, "Young man," says, "how long you been working for us?" And I said, "Oh, 7 or 8 years, Mr. Binion." He says, "Well, you must be doing a great job, otherwise we would have ran your ass off down the road." But the other part of the question, the craziest of the 3, without a doubt, is Linda Johnson.
There you go. Nate?
Linda Johnson.
Linda, hands down. I've been on a poker cruise with her. That lady is crazy.
Wow, we all just threw
I think
Linda
Jack
under
was
the
on the
bus.
same cruise. She is crazy.
That is awesome.
Say hi to everybody at Ricardo's.
Nate, favorite fashion decade at the poker table? The 70s, the 80s, the 90s, or today?
The 90s.
The 90s?
The 90s.
Can you, the question repeat?
Yeah,
please?
favorite fashion decade of players at the poker table. So, what players were wearing when they played poker?
90s.
90s?
Yeah.
Jack?
I think 90s. People...
We're classier.
They dressed up like my late wife. Always, she had to be dressed fit to a T to go out to play poker.
Nobody said the 70s.
And,
That's so disappointing.
No, the 70s were jeans. And,
Yeah.
But
tie-dye shirts. And
Yeah.
I was born in 75.
But
Come on.
my wife Elizabeth, she didn't really know a whole lot about poker when we got married, and she says, "Oh, you're going to have to play poker. You got to wear a sports jacket and everything." I said, "No, poker players don't dress like that." She says, "No, you must look classy." So the first poker tournament I took her to that she worked with me was in Tunica, Mississippi. After like 2 days, she said, "You got to get a different career."
There you go.
Where do these people come from? I said, "Well, most of them live around here."
Nice. Joe, most likely to happen at the Hall of Fame ceremony on Sunday? Jack laughing, Jack crying, or Jack pushing Daniel off the stage?
I think Jack is going to be laughing and crying. And I think that's my answer. I think both. I don't think he's pushing Daniel off the stage. I think Daniel will have to be dragged off the stage for his speech being too long. So I think Jack will have a great moment, and it will be happy cheers, by the way.
We should give Jack the hook to pull Daniel off.
There you
That's
go.
what we should do.
Jack, what do you think?
I'm really, really hoping I can keep it light and funny and not have any tears. But I'm
Tears of pride, sir.
I get fairly emotional, so if I do, it wouldn't surprise me. But I'm working very hard not to do that.
It's a very proud moment.
Just be yourself, Jack.
And actually, I have to go first, so
you're good.
There won't be any opportunity. Daniel might have to pull me off the stage.
There you go. Last one, Nate. I'll start this one off with you. Best current tournament director: Matt Savage, Jack Effel, or they still don't have anything on Jack, baby.
They still don't have anything on Jack, baby.
Joe?
I like Matt Savage.
Jack?
I'm like the president. I always vote for me.
There you go. That's how you do it. All right.
I thought you meant Jack Eiffel.
My
You
favorite.
said Jack Eiffel. I didn't know.
Jack Effel, yeah, and then they don't have anything on.
This Jack. I vote for this Jack. I'm sorry. I didn't think he was part of the choice.
My favorite moment in poker is watching Jack sitting next to Stewie at the outside at the World Series.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
But it was only like 100 degrees that day.
Jack, I didn't think you were one of the choices.
That's
would have been an easy pick. Yeah.
Joe's
I'm
got
politically
apparently
correct.
a tight thong on or something today.
Yeah, my red.
So.
The most touching
All right.
moment in poker is when Stewie was talking about his daughter in the picture, and he was talking to Jack. That's the most touching moment in poker for me.
Yeah, that was a great one. All right, we have to take one more commercial break. We'll be back with a little bit more from Jack McClelland and the gang right after this. Thanks for joining us. Hi everyone, Mark here. If you're a poker player like me and looking for something different and exciting to play, you should give Open Face Chinese Poker a shot. It has just the right mix of skill, luck, plus a huge dose of the fun factor we're all looking for. There's a reason Open Face Chinese Poker has everyone from the recreational player to the top pros hooked on its thrills, action, and unique social interactions you won't find in Hold'em. An incredible game like this has got to be worth checking out. And it's easy to learn, especially by using the ABC Chinese Poker app. Download the ABC Chinese Poker app on iTunes today and find out what everyone's talking about. And if you have questions about the game, tweet at ABC Chinese Poker and they'll be glad to help you along. So join the Open Face Chinese Poker community today with the ABC Chinese Poker app and we'll see you at the tables.
Nevada poker players, it's time to get in the game with the Nevada Poker League. Play for free to win cash at every location, plus you also can win poker cruises and even a $10,000 World Series of Poker main event seat. It's a great way to play poker at no risk, make new friends, and build up your poker bankroll. The Nevada Poker League is never closed and is running games 7 days a week at a location near you. So what are you waiting for? Visit the NevadaPokerLeague.com right now for all the info. Don't wait. Play poker for free and cash in today with your friends at the Nevada Poker League.
The poker action never stops at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. We have millions of reasons for you to be a part of our 4th annual Seminole Hard Rock Rock and Roll Poker Open, November 13th through December 3rd. Time to go all in. Opening event starts November 13th with the $500,000 guaranteed prize pool. Play in any of the events leading up to the championship at the premier poker destination. The Seminole Hard Rock Rock and Roll Poker Open Championship begins November 28th through December 3rd with a guaranteed prize pool of $2 million. Final table of the championship will be live streamed by Poker Night in America and aired on CBS Sports. Space is limited. Visit shrpo.com or the Poker Room for registration and details. Only at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, Hollywood. Must be 21 to play slots and table games and at least 18 to play live poker. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
There's nothing better than sitting down to play poker with good friends and cutting loose. And that's what you're going to find when you tune in to Poker Night in America. Poker Night in America is revolutionizing televised poker in a big way. With all the action you love and the hilarious fun you've been missing. Come take a seat at the table with all your favorite players, old and new, with Poker Night in America. Sunday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on CBS Sports Network. And don't forget to visit the show online at PokerNight.com. So pull up a chair and join us Sundays on Poker Night in America.
It's time for you to check out RogueWire.com. News, sports, entertainment, and the internet home of The Mark Hoke Show. Don't wait. Let the sparks fly from your computer at RogueWire.com. And of course, RogueWire.com is powered by BlueRail.net. For over 2 years, The Mark Hoke Show has trusted BlueRail.net as their exclusive host, and you can too. Visit BlueRail.net for top-level web hosting, website building and maintenance, one-on-one customer service, and much more. It's time to get on board with your winning combination, BlueRail.net and RogueWire.com. How far do you want to go?
poker players. It's time to check out DeegePoker.com. Deej Poker is the unique and clever choice for a new generation of true grinders, representing the full spectrum of poker players from the novice to the world champion. A true Deej player gives their heart and soul for countless hours at the table to be the best. And Deej Poker Apparel shows everyone who you really are, on and off the felt. So join the new generation at DeegePoker.com. That's DEEG Poker.com. Deej Poker, the world's newest poker apparel store.
Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Then follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show and like our Facebook page at The Mark Hoke Show for show news and outstanding poker content from around the world. Plus, enjoy the show anytime by subscribing to our podcasts on iTunes or at markhokeshow.podbean.com. We're even on your mobile phone at markhokeshow.podbean.com/mobile. Thanks for listening and being a part of The Mark Hoke Show.
Now, let's return to The Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
And we are back, and of course, honored to have Jack McClelland joining us, who on Sunday, November 9th at 7:30 at Binion's Gambling Hall, of course, the birthplace of poker in Las Vegas, and the original home of the World Series, he will be inducted into the Poker Hall of Fame. We are very excited to have him on the show, and I can only imagine. What's your plans for that night? I mean, obviously, it's going to be a very emotional evening, but what are you thinking about this?
I've been thinking a lot. I mean, it's hard to write a speech, but I want to try to keep it light and funny and thank everybody. And I'm proud of the fact that a lot of people that I've taught the same 6 jobs to over and over for 40 years have done well. 2 of the guys I picked for my tournament staff are now running the Bellagio, Craig Lump and Adam Altwies at Aria. And it feels like your family's doing good when you see them succeed.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing night, and a trip down memory lane for everybody. And I think Jack, we can speak for everybody out there in poker that we have been very blessed to have you in the community and doing everything you've done for so long. And I think the entire poker community owes you such a debt of thanks for staying in this thing for as long as you did and doing what you've done.
Shaping the game.
Yep, no question about it.
Well, if it's better now than when I started, then my career was successful.
Mission accomplished.
You bet.
Hey, Jack, I do have a question because we kind of took you back on memory lane here. Talking about old players versus the players of today. Is Dan Harrington's 2 final table accomplishments, where do you gauge that in comparison to Newhouse making 2 final tables against much larger fields? Is one a better accomplishment than the other, or?
I mean, it's like comparing Johnny Bench against a catcher today. Everybody knows how great Johnny was, and he never made over $100,000 a year. And now they got catchers making $6 million a year that can't hit or catch. So I mean, it's like an impossible comparison because it's just 2 completely different worlds. I mean, when I was growing up, you learned everything the hard way by getting broke and learning. And now by the time you're 16 years old, you've played 2 million hands and you've got all the statistics to look at. It's just like really hard to tell.
Yeah. Well, of course, once again, come on down to Binion's, man. It's going to be a great time. The Poker Hall of Fame ceremony, Daniel Negreanu and Jack McClelland getting inducted this week. Of course, November 9 will be. I'm sure a few of us will be hanging out down there too.
I'll be there. I can't wait to watch Mark Newhouse take this down.
Is Jack's ceremony open to the public?
I'm not sure. We'll find out.
Okay.
But that's when it's going on.
Sounds like you were inviting people down. I'm like, maybe it's not open to the public. It should be.
Yeah, come down and say hi. Get an autograph. Shake the man's hand.
Negreanu's going to be there. It's going to be a huge.
Yeah,
huge
it should be an awesome evening.
And with Jack there, there's going to be thousands of people there also.
You betcha. So hey, thanks for joining us on the Mark Hoke Show. We do appreciate it. We'll catch you next Wednesday, and of course follow the show on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, Facebook Mark Hoke Show, and markhokeshow.com. Have a good one, everybody.